Hi there, and welcome back to The Traveler's Void. My name is Liana. I am the sweaty PvP metaslave who unfortunately sits here and devotes way too much fucking time to this game. And it's going to be a fun episode today. I'm super excited.
Oh yeah, I'm Kobe, the occasional PvPist.
That sounds a little,
And I'm Suka, the unironic strike enjoyer.
unironic. More like chronic.
Chronic strike enjoyer. Yes.
Chronic strike enjoyer.
Suka, are you in strikes? Yeah, dude, it's chronic.
God.
Just because it might happen a couple of times and I don't want to go through and find the 3 instances where I have to edit it out. If there's any coughing, I'm sorry. It's me.
Yeah.
I have asthma and it manifests as a nasty cough sometimes.
I'm actually kind of in the same boat right now. I had to use my my fancy asthma vape today, so we'll see how it goes.
Fancy asthma vape? Hold on, no. Hold on, the podcast needs to go on pause. What?
Am I gonna have to restart this?
No. But what?
My nebulizer. Like the first time I was using it when a friend was over, I had to fucking call it.
So
they
an
looked at it
albuterol
and
thing.
no, I put the albuterol in there and I was like breathing it in, and they looked at it and they were like, "Whoa, sick vape."
Okay, that makes sense.
But anyway, now that we're done talking about my sick vape, back to the shithole we play. I've been slightly busy this week, so I need the two of you to fill me in. What's happened this week?
So this week at Bungie gave us some more information for what's happening for Witch Queen. Predominantly, the raid is going to be available on March 5th, so they expected about a week and a half. DMT and Hawkmoon will have an available role from Xur each week.
That's right.
DMT, Hawkmoon, Aegir Scepter, Outbreak, Whisper, and Fourth Horseman catalysts are being added to playlist activities as rewards. The Outbreak and Whisper catalysts objectives are being updated for that purpose, so there'll be kills probably, or something like that. Rahul will be getting Enhancement Prism and Ascendant Shard trades in place of Banshee and Ada,
Spider.
in addition to Spider's trades.
Yeah.
Ghost mods that no longer generate telemetries will no longer be existent, because they're getting rid of the gunsmith reputation the way we know it. Instead of turning in gunsmith materials and getting rewards that way, you get gunsmith reputation by just dismantling legendaries. So that means, yes,
And exotics.
Get rid of your gunsmith materials before the end of
Before Feb 22,
yes.
because otherwise you lose them.
Yes, otherwise they will be gone. You might be able to stick some in the vault and hold on to them, but they won't do anything.
They'll sit there and
stuff
look
that's
purty.
in your vault, KOB?
Yeah, exactly. I have some Alkane dust. What's the problem?
It's
Why?
Like those people who keep Callus tokens. You
I
can't
have some of
use-
those too.
I know.
He's the type of motherfucker to be on an episode of Hoarders and be like, I can't throw that away, that has value, and it's like a 1950s microwave.
My vault is only at 300 most of the time.
Shut up.
Yeah, I don't have the chronic vault problem everyone else does, so I can hold on to these things. Blues
Wait.
won't be dropping from playlist activity completions once you reach the soft cap. Once you hit the cap where powerful starts to be the only way to move up. They will still drop from world sources, so enemies, and I would assume chests and the public events and all that. They will, instead of those, you'll see slightly improved drops of legendary items and a small amount of legendary shards in those places.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
now the hot button topic. I read from bottom up, essentially, for my summary from the week. The absolute maximum power going into Witch Queen is going to be 1560. That's your pinnacle cap.
Okay.
power cap, where powerful stops being useful, is 1550, so the usual 10
1550.
spread.
Yeah.
Soft cap is 1500, so everything up to 1500 will help you out, and 1500 is where blues will stop dropping.
We'll stop doing anything.
And the thing that has people mad on the internet, the power floor, the absolute brand new account you've just logged in power level is 1350, which is 20 above the current maximum gear level of Season of the Lost.
Now, hang on just a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong. They did this before.
Yeah, with the power floor
Yeah,
going
right.
to 1100.
Yeah, so what's the big stink this time?
People feel cheated or something, I guess, for
It's
having...
because the
having
grind,
farmed up?
I guess.
Okay, so let me put it this way. And mind you, I don't play a ton of PvE and stuff like that. So but let me put it this way. If setting everyone at the power floor and everything else, and it's only 20 light above what the max is this season, get your panties out of a twist. Really? 20 light? You're going to sit there and throw... You literally... 1350 almost everybody hits with the artifact right now. So
Yeah.
just because... Even if someone logs into Destiny because they get into it and it's 1350 and everything else, you were 1350 before the new season anyway. You're probably going to be 1380 by the time that player understands what they're doing and everything else. Like...
Here's the
Wow.
thing. The reason they're doing it is actually a very good reason. And it's so that everyone who launches Witch Queen day of, if they manage to get past the server issues, everyone who gets in can just start doing Witch Queen story. They don't have to grind 200 levels to go from 11 to 1300 before they can even experience the story.
What is it? Oh, Destiny 2 servers are temporarily at maximum capacity. You're placing
Yeah.
queue 25,000.
Yeah. Or error code honeydew.
Oh,
Yeah.
fucking honeydew. You'll get to play Witch Queen for 5 minutes, get into the first mission, then get kicked out, then you're back in that fucking queue for half an hour.
I think
Remember,
it's
everyone,
also
never
with the,
take off a launch day of work. You will not get to enjoy
No.
the game on that day.
No.
Take off like 2 or 3 days later if you're even going to do that.
Just wait till the weekend.
Exactly. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
I've never called
I
off
think-
a day of work for that.
I think people being mad at this is also like people who grind they don't like being on the same playing field for some reason. They like having the advantage, which is fun, but there's really nothing wrong with it this time. They did this last time, and they also I mean, when Beyond Light came out, we were all under light or at light for the campaign, and that's what they want to do with this expansion.
Yeah.
So I don't see why, like, it's gonna help returning players and new players get into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't see how this change is in any way perceived as bad, except for by the quote-unquote elitist and people who want to gatekeep.
My power level, where?
Yeah.
Wah, I sat there and farmed all my stuff legitimately. Wah, wah.
It's the same kind of thought process that goes around these days that is, I had to work hard and suffer, so you should too.
Oh God, don't even.
Versus I had to work and suffer so that you didn't have to. It's
Don't
that
even get
line
into
of
that.
thought.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Traveler's Void, where we talk about Destiny. Oh, and politics.
That was the furthest I was going into for that, but that's the
No,
same thought.
no,
I
no,
had
you're
to
good.
grind and work through that, so why do they get a free ride to above the power I'm at?
Back in my day.
God damn. I'm gonna start. We need to stop calling them elitist. We need to think of a Destiny version of the word boomer.
Boomberries.
Boomberry. I really like that, not gonna lie.
That's the fucking portmanteau I came up with off the top of my head.
Alright, everybody who listens to this podcast, if you see anyone like that, please, send a photo put a photo of it up on Twitter and put hashtag Boomberry next to it.
Okay, Boomberry.
Yeah, okay, Boomberry. Oh my god. And the funniest one we'll shout out in the next video.
You're gonna actually have
Gotta
to
have-
use Twitter?
I got it. Don't worry.
Make
Anyway.
a call-out post on my twitter.com.
Oh shit.
Anyway, well, what a fun fucking intro to this week.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and let's get into the meat here. So, stasis. Stasis changes and everything else. Now, last week we discussed the PvE side of it, and I let these two primarily take the conversation. This time we're doing the PvP side of it. This is our PvP episode. And so, I did this with the previous part, so I'm going to do it again just for consistency. So I'm going to start with Suka. Just blanket, like, if I asked you to describe when you use stasis on, let's say, one sentence per class, how do you feel in PvP right now? Whether it's low end or high end.
One sentence per class?
Per
Roughly.
class.
Alright, Hunter, I would say it feels pretty nice. I feel, it feels on par with the other subclasses that aren't stasis. Warlock, still pretty good. It's not bad, and if you know how to use it, it can still be pretty fucking good. Titan, I don't use stasis Titan in Crucible.
I don't think anyone does, to be fair.
I think once they got the movement nerf on their melee ability, everybody was like, alright, bye.
Yeah, I think that shuts people down pretty fucking quick, so...
I can't skate across the map in like 2.5 seconds in my super anymore.
Yeah.
KOB, I'll do the same thing to you. Go ahead, just tell me what you think.
Titan, honestly, I never really saw it being as very PvP viable outside of its super being intensely damage resistant. So it doesn't feel like it has very good neutral. And never did. Warlock feels kind of the jack of all trades. It's got a really strong super shutdown with its super, and it can control very well, which is surprising in PvP. And then Hunter feels like garbage now.
You think so?
Like, I appreciate that Shatter Dive got its nerfs. It needed it. It really did. It was too free for too much. But everything else that came with it, I think I talked about this. I don't know if maybe it was mentioned in episode 3 when we first got some changes, but the fact that the Titan can still double punch with its melee, so it can slam into you, hit you. I don't think it slows you anymore, but it can slam into you and then hit you again with a melee by just a well-timed normal melee press. That's just an instant kill. So they have an instant kill melee. Warlock, the entire subclass is about freezes, so they have an instant freeze melee. The freezes are much less significant than they were before, unless they are a super freeze. But still, a Hunter cannot freeze a target at all unless they throw 2 knives, do a dodge close enough to get their melee back, and hit them with Winter's Shroud to keep the slow active while they're in the dodge animation, and then throw another knife at them, and then maybe they'll get a 1-second freeze off. And it's like, okay, Titan can instant kill or knock you out of the lane. Warlock can freeze you and just stop the encounter, and Hunter can make you think a little bit longer about something.
Make you think, exactly.
So you're talking about just its neutral game? With
Just
stasis?
the neutral game. The super for Hunter is poopy.
But it's better than it was before.
Barely?
20% movement speed doesn't do much. It helps, don't get me wrong, but it is, I will say, I do find myself dodging it quite easily. The thing is about the silence... The thing is about Silence and Squall is that the thing that's going to determine, how well it does and everything else is super, what's the word I'm looking for? If you get caught in it, then that's it. You'll probably die to it unless it's near the end of it. But if you just don't get caught in it in the first place, or if you're if you're in it for a second and then get out of it, it doesn't matter. And so I don't know. The way that I guess I'll say it is it's just not aggressive enough as far as like the DPS. The mobility isn't the issue here. I kind of like where the mobility is because it makes the person casting it think about what they can use. Because you don't always have to use it as a pure damage tool. You can use it as a movement blocking tool. So you could throw it one way, that way they can't go that way, or they run into it and make them push towards you. It's also good for other things like, of course, control points, overtime points, things like that. Because, you know, it can push them off and everything else. But it's not like it used to be where you could just chuck it and, you know, boom, and you get so, you know, you just clean house for a little while, and then it just does nothing. Or you throw it, you don't hit exactly where you want, it just does, you know, jack diddly shit. So, honest to God, if they wanted to increase it, like, if they wanted to make it a bit more lethal, all they need to do, and I think this is perfectly fine for PvP, is either double the amount of ticks / double the damage per tick. It's the same thing. But if they double the damage or double the amount of ticks that thing hits, I prefer double the damage personally. But if they double the damage that each tick does while you're in there, then it's a lot more scary. Because then it's if you touch it, you're dead, basically. Which is how I think it should be in PvP, because it's, you know, again, it's a super, and that movement of, you know, getting around it isn't hard, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it should be, you know, I think supers should have some form of way, you know, to be dodged and contested and things like that. It's healthy for the PvP life cycle. But I think the player should also be punished if they end up getting in it.
Keep in mind, too, that this version that we're talking about right now is the sped-up version of the super. And it's still, like, no, you can't just casually walk away from it like before, where it's not even, like, where it's a non-threat, it's a 10-meter or whatever area you just can't go in, so I'm going to go this way. You actually have to pay attention to where it's at, but it still is super easy to get away from.
Yeah. Which, again, I think is personally good for it, because, you know, I think that that's something that should happen. I want it to be, you know, I think that's good for it as a whole.
Yeah.
But
it ends up being a DI or nothing kind of super, which
exactly.
I guess Golden Gun could be described as similar, as you're either hitting or you're not, but
I was thinking about that, yeah.
Golden Gun gets more than one shot to do it.
Exactly.
But still, I can't tell you how many games of PvP. I'm just not good with it, but games of, you know, Control where I cast Golden Gun and then it's like a desert. There's no one to be seen.
Everyone hears that casting sound and scatters.
Yeah, and then scatters. Yeah, no, that's a part of using Golden Gun.
Rather, anybody who knows what they're doing in PvP just scatters, because they know that at any range you're pretty much gonna kill them. So they're never around. You can use that to your advantage to clear a point without actually shooting anybody, but at the same time, you're now forcing a movement. Whether that be beneficial or not is up to whether or not your team can capitalize.
Yeah. So, solid points from both of you. I always appreciate outside points of view because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jaded. I'll sit there and be like, well, back in, you know. Anyway, so we used to sit there and we used to hold sniper lanes double the distance with Icebreaker. Anyway, so current PvP, how it sits. Let's start with 6v6. Iron Banner did recently just pass. The final week of the season is going to be an Iron Banner week, so that'll be fun to see.
They did announce that Iron Banner is going to get, as part of the This Week at Bungie last week. They didn't say what they're doing, but that, I don't know if they said later in the season, I don't remember exactly, but later in the Witch Queen year, Saladin is going to get a vendor refresh. So, we're finally hopefully getting that sooner rather than later.
It's not going to happen this season. They said it's going to happen, I think, what's the season? Season 15 currently?
This one's 15. 16 is the one
I think
going
17 is when they said... I think 17 is when they said they were going to do it.
Yeah. So we have another season, another 3 Iron Banners after Witch Queen, where it's going to be exactly the same. However, the abilities bounty is probably going to be gone.
Yo,
we'll talk about that in a minute. Iron Banner now.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we'll talk about that fucking thing in a minute. But anyway... So, let's talk about 6v6. Stasis in 6v6 can be interesting, to say the least.
Indeed.
let me start with the class I have the least experience with, and that's going to be Stasis Warlock. There are some moments where you get some funny stasis things. There's definitely been times where I've been playing in stasis trials or trials or something like that, and I get hit with like the fucking melee, and I'm like, I just died to a warlock melee. I'm a fucking trash can. But you know, the thing that I will say about stasis is it feels pretty shitty right now, but it's not entirely Stasis's fault. Because yeah, there's a lot of changes and tuning and tweaking and things like that that's happened to it, and then the ability change just came in and fucking just rammed it out of the road.
Stasis outside of Duskfields, I think, is one of the slowest regenerating of all classes overall.
Yep,
except for Silence and Squall specifically. Silence and Squall is the second fastest.
This is going to be my blueberry moment here, but do each of the stasis grenades have a different cooldown?
Yes, unless you're using Bleak Watcher.
Then they all have the same cooldown.
Then they all have the same cooldown, which is the whatever speed your Glacier is going at.
Yep.
Now, to go on Bleak Watcher, does the grenade you're using affect the uptime?
No.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it could or not.
Well, and the other thing is, too, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not familiar with this, so I may lean into Kobe here. Is the maximum amount of fragments that every class can equip 6?
No.
I don't believe so, no.
Hunter has, I think, is 4 or something like
Hunter
that?
is 6. You can get 6.
That, 4, I think, was what it was at the start, and they have changed what each fragment gives in terms of slots. And that's a relatively recent change as well.
Gotcha, okay.
I think the maximum any one class can reach is 6 now, but I think that might not necessarily be an ideal build for 6. So, the Hunter one is Grim Harvest and the Improved Grenade. Those work together.
It's 5, not 6, by the way.
Is it 5? Okay.
Yeah, just to clarify.
Well,
I wanted to make sure, but...
Either way. The way to get 5 there for a Hunter is Grim Harvest and the Improved Grenade. Not a bad pairing, but I don't know what the Warlock and the Titan ones might be. They might not be a good pairing. The Titan one for the ice stuff for his Tectonic Harvest, there we go, might not work as well with something like I can't remember all of the fragments right now.
So there's Cryoclasm, which is the longer and more powerful slide and allows you to slide into your frozen targets into crystals and shatter them.
Yeah.
There's Diamond Lance, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yes.
There's Howl the Storm, where you can send that wave forward, and then there's Tectonic Harvest. So, I don't know which one gets you 5, but I just know those are the aspects.
So, if Tectonic Harvest is involved there, that's probably not going to work as well as it could with, Cryoclasm. That's probably not an ideal pairing. You can make it work, it'll do something, but you're not able to make any crystals with your melee, so you're getting melee energy back just to punch dudes, and then you rely on a different fragment to do something else, like give you grenade energy back faster, and then you require that you run Glaciers, the slowest grenades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, Stasis is in a very weird point. I will tell you right now, as far as personal experience, the players that I see the most as running Stasis right now are, what are they called? Stasis Warlocks.
Yes. The Stasis Warlock is definitely what I see the most of. If I'm going to see Stasis, I see a Warlock.
Yeah. And, it makes sense, obviously, about how things work and so on. About, just thinking about how that subclass works. It makes sense. So when it comes to how it fits in right now, I mean, I will say this right now. The only place that Stasis really feels like it fits right now is PvE, unless you're a Warlock.
Not, I
Um,
disagree. It feels like shit in PvP because of the changes.
It does. I agree that it does not feel very good in PvE right now, on any subclass.
yeah, no. So let me. I guess let me clarify. It's not just because I'm saying it's better in PvE doesn't mean I'm saying it's amazing in PvE.
Yeah.
I'm just
Okay.
saying that if I was to compare the two, if I had to choose between using stasis in PvE and using it in PvP, I'm picking PvE 10 out of 10
Gotcha,
times.
gotcha.
Both of them are shit right now. That's the thing is with stasis is when they designed it and everything else, it was based off of the old ability sandbox, and now they've shot that in the out behind the shed. So
Yeah.
now going into things like Void 3.0 and everything else, hopefully we see a tweaking and a tuning to it. I think we will, but as it stands right now, stasis is abysmal to use. And so even the other problem is too is one of the main allures of certain weapons, especially stasis weapons, is synergy with your subclass. You're not going to see anything like that in PvP. I'm not going to lie, if I died to someone with like an IS Luna and they got like headstone, I'd lose my shit
Time for
because
me to
I
use
would
that in our private match.
like I would sit there and laugh and everything else. The only good PvP class right now, and I think most people who play PvP will agree, is Warlock, and that's because of A, grenade recharge, and B, the super. Because Ice
Yeah.
Flare bolts, I don't know the name of it.
Yeah,
Whatever the fuck that thing is.
That's correct.
Ice Flare bolts is fucking nuts. You can, you hit a Guardian, and as long as your, whumph, it hits them, it's death. You don't even have to be looking at the Guardian. So it's a super powerful move, and yes, they have tweaked it and tuned it so that way roaming supers like Fist and Arc Strider need 2 of those, but it's not like it's hard to get 2 wumps off.
Right.
So that's the only one. You don't see stasis titans because there's no benefit to having all these stasis crystals and everything else or anything. You know what I mean? If I see a stasis hunter, there's a few reasons why I could see some. I'm not gonna lie, I'm playing trials these past couple of weeks. There are people who are still trying to shatter dive.
Yes, it's still.
Oh,
They've
wow.
gotten
It's still strong. It can still
Yeah.
get a kill, but it's not the free kill that it has
no.
been.
They are crutching on it incredibly hard because that's all they have. That's all that makes them. That's how they got good.
That's all they
and
know
now
how
it's
to
been
do.
taken away. Exactly. It's a Pavlovian response at this point. But you just don't see it. The light-based subclasses are 1,000 times better right now.
Especially with
For
the grenade changes, and on
Yeah.
especially on Middle Tree Warlock or any of the Warlock stuff where they can trigger their own regeneration. If you have T10 Discipline and you're running Middle Tree, you can throw Firebolt grenades once every 8 seconds.
Yep.
And you just have to have someone stand in your rift, just in cover somewhere. You can just be throwing grenades at people. And once every 8 seconds, people, you don't have to engage very hard to keep that pressure on. And that may only be 60 damage, but that's 60 guaranteed damage if they stay in range.
Yeah.
So one thing that I do want to bring up, and I think this is important, is I'm gonna move over to trials now, which is, I don't know if you saw, last week's trials map was Twilight Gap.
Gross.
I streamed it. It was fucking abysmal. I hated it. It was fucking Twilight Gap, and it was for Solo Scar. So, for Flawless. So, wasn't incredibly fun. But anyway, one thing that I do want to point out, because I think it is important to note, are the top, weapons, the top 10 weapons that were used at that point. And I'm sure that the both of you can think of a few off the top of your head, but I'm just going to go ahead and read them. And I can tell you right now, off all the matches that I played, almost none of these were stasis players. But it was Chaperone, followed by DMT, followed by Feltwinter, followed by AS Luna, followed by Main Ingredient, followed by Palindrome, followed by CQC12, followed by Last Word, followed by Matador, followed by Lorenz.
You want to know what all of these weapons have in common? They are some of the highest range options in all of their particular classes.
Respective class, yep. Chaperone's the highest range slug, DMT's DMT, I don't have to explain that. it's nuts. If you don't know what what Dead Man's Tale is, it is I just look it up. I don't even know if I could describe it in a way to explain how broken it was. Fellwinter's Lie, again, same thing. It's been in the game since season 10. It's forever going to be there. It's incredibly not broken. I don't like using the word to describe that because it's not broken. It's consistent, and that's the problem.
It is too consistent. Its consistency is too strong.
Yeah, that's the problem. AS Luna, I see that for a number of reasons. AS Luna can have a lot of good PvP roles.
It's a hand cannon.
It's a hand cannon, exactly. Main ingredient is there's a big debate in the PvP community right now whether main ingredient is better than plug 1 for PvP. The main ingredient side argues a certain perk roll that I can't remember. The plug 1 side argues for plug 1. Yeah, the Zur roll was good. It's not the perfect one, but it was solid. But there's a roll on main ingredient. I'll look it up real quick while I'm talking about it. But there was a roll on main ingredient that people said is super good, and it's better than plug 1. And then plug 1 obviously can come in adept, so you have mods like adept range, grip like that and everything else. So for plug 1, I'm looking at this real quick. Plug 1 does have kickstart, but that's a shit perk in current meta. What do we got here? Heating up. Okay, so plug 1 has some decent perks, but the thing is none of them are really, really good for PvP, excuse me. You do have quick draw. You do have quick draw backup plan as an option, but that's not typically the role that I see people using when it comes to PvP, especially in current meta. 450s got range. Plug 1 and main ingredient have no problem killing you from 30 meters.
Yeah.
Legitimately from 30 meters.
Yeah, I've seen some people get like 40-meter kills with some of the high impact frames, so 30 meters is absolutely right. Yeah. I believe it.
The reason why a lot of people argue for main ingredient, there's a few rules here: snapshot rangefinder, under pressure rangefinder, moving target rangefinder. Let's just rangefinder.
Rangefinder.
Charmander. Anyway,
Charmander.
Rangefinder. I mean, snapshot quick draw snapshot is also an option, but I tell you right now, you're probably going to see under pressure rangefinder because you have under pressure right off the bat, and you have rangefinder. We all know what more accuracy, more stability, more range for free. But the thing to take away from this, I could sit here and talk about them all I want, is they're 450s. I mean, they're sorry, wrong precision frame. They're 700s MS. They're precision frames. Precision frames kick ass right now. Fusion rifles have always been supposed to be this thing where you can use them to counter shotguns and everything else, and they counter shotguns and snipers and any other primary weapon you can think of right now. Besides maybe super long range, but you get my point.
Right.
You do see 740s, but I would argue that you don't see 740s about as equally as you see rapid fires. Cartesian has some decent rolls. That's not the one that a lot of people use. You'll see a lot of zealots
precision?
running around.
Is 740 a precision, or which frame is
740 is a precision.
Okay.
So that's like main ingredient and
yeah,
plug 1. And then a lot of people have been running things like zealots, which I'm going to sit I sit there and you're like, what the fuck, zealots? But the thing is about zealots is that has under pressure high impact reserves.
Right. And you're always in the high impact reserves range for special weapons.
Or it's got under pressure backup plan, and it's a rapid fire, and you get charge time. You get my point.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So fusions are fucking incredible, and that's not to mention the fact that every fusion rifle, and linear for that matter, in the game right now has a free scavenger mod.
Right.
That's a lot cheaper than normal scavengers. But anyway, so that's why you sit here and you see so much of these weapons being used and everything else. Snipers haven't changed at all. They're never going to change. Hand cannons haven't really changed at all. We have a new one. We have AS Luna, and you can get plenty of nutty rolls and things on that. So, PvP's weird right now.
It's this weird mix of high speed but also slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Like,
it puts this weird disparity between the high end stats and the low end stats, where your low stats feel like garbage, but if you get that same stat to the high end, it's great.
yeah. Suka was there when I was actually streaming Trials, and I have the misfortune / fortune. I have 2 occluded finalities. One of them is really, really good, and one of them is what a lot of people would consider garbage. I have one that I got to drop that has Arrowhead Break, my choice of AP rounds or Ricochet rounds, Snapshot, Opening Shot, Stability Masterwork. Wonderful roll, beautiful roll. But it's not the one I've been using. The one I've been using has Fluted Barrel, Appended Mag, Surplus, and Elemental Capacitor. For those of you that don't know, I play a Dragon Shadow build. And so Suka got to witness not 1, not 2, but 3 jump snipe quick swap jump snipes in one game. One of them was I was mid-air and I headshot the guy and I felt bad. I'm not gonna lie, I felt bad. And so shit that shouldn't normally work is working, and shit that normally does work won't work sometimes.
I also saw the shit show that was happening with Lorenz.
Oh,
Lorenz has been a shit show since its inception.
Yeah, it's still ridiculously overpowered. Inertia Override Titans can still one-shot body shot with it.
Any damage buff, any 20%, I think, is enough.
Well, another thing is, too, that pushes linear fusions better than sniper rifles, and why you see so many people using them at this point is because adaptive frames, while they're good and everything else, can't one-shot headshot a super cancel without a perk. Lorenz, Arbalest, they do it for free.
Does Arbalest one-shot Titan barriers now that it has anti-barrier capabilities?
I haven't tried it, but my answer is probably going to be no. It probably takes 2.
Unless it's Titans, which it probably will.
That'll one-shot it, definitely.
Because I know it's like a 10% damage buff or something like that to barriers when you use an anti-barrier.
Yep.
I don't think it works in PvP, though.
It does.
It does.
If that was a change they made, like, late Splicer or early Splicer, and there's 2 champion mods that work in Crucible. That's the anti-barrier and Overload. Overload will actually slow abilities down, but it's barely noticeable. Maybe it's more noticeable now, but it's barely noticeable.
It's more noticeable now. You basically lose 5 seconds of ability regeneration.
And Unstop can make an unshielded Guardian flinch, but if you're already hitting something that's already unshielded as a Guardian,
you're probably gonna kill it.
They only have 70 more health. You're probably killing them.
Yeah.
Especially if you're using a hand cannon, that's death.
Yeah.
But anyway, so stasis in current meta and things like that, really, really fucking bad. I mean, as a whole, the current builds and weapons that you see nowadays, I mean, it's the same shit. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
It might have a new name. It might have
something about that too.
Go for it.
And the other day, in one of the voice chats, it was me, KOB, and Ellis was mentioning that he thinks that special weapons in PvP are still too strong.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's still, like, you know, even with the special ammo changes that they did, like he says, like he plays a lot more PvP than me.
Mm-hmm.
If he needs to go hard, he'll go hard. He can just run around with a shotgun the entire match and, you know, top frag.
That's a 110% legitimate complaint, because I mean, we have scavenger mods and everything else, and that's not a problem, but the thing that we keep running into issues with is there's just too much goddamn special ammo in the game. And this was a problem in Destiny 1, mind you. We've dealt with this problem twice now. This is the 3rd time this has become an issue with special economy. And there's a super easy fix. Super, super, super easy fix. And they did this in D1, and it wasn't just for endgame playlists like like Trials. I think Trials is the only one that has this in effect right now. I may be wrong. Iron Banner may have it. All they have to do to fix the special ammo economy is 2 things. You only spawn in with special ammo on your first life of your first life of the game. For round-based game modes, first life of the round. That's how it works. If you die, you get rezzed, whether by the game or by a teammate. You don't respawn with special ammo. Part 2 is they need to bring back the special crate system. If Bungie were to bring back the special crate system, it creates contention because people are going to fight over special ammo, which pushes people away from camping and things like that, which, is, not going to lie, a big problem right now. Along with a list of other things. So if they make it to where I hate to sit here and go D1 was better because I know so many people do that, but it legitimately was when it came to ammo economy because, D1 had scavenger perks and shit like that did crazy shit too. Like, don't get me wrong. D1 has shit where you could sit there and spawn in with fucking 12 rounds and a sniper rifle on the first life of the game, And we're not talking like little like shitty snipers either. We're talking like Zen Meteor and Patience and Time and exotics for fuck's sake. So that isn't a problem. It isn't a problem when you have a player who spawns in with 12 ammo, because the trickle down effect of special ammo. I mean, if you kill them, you end up like let's say you kill them before they get a single kill, you might get 4 if you're lucky.
I think you'll get 6 right now.
Yeah, with D2, I don't know. But,
assuming you're matching weapons, you would get 6 for your sniper.
But it's going to trickle down and everything else. That's not a problem. Anyway, so if they bring back the special crates,
scavengers, which would inflate it a little bit, but not by much.
Not by much. If we bring back the special crate system, and if we bring back, in all of PvP, that once you die, you're out of special until you pick up a crate or loot it off of someone's body, because it's not a problem when you have it set up that way, because there's a lot less of it to go around. KOB brought this up at one point. It's in one of our episodes where I'm playing
2.
Iron Banner. Yeah, it's episode 2. I'm playing Iron Banner, and 9 instances of special ammo touch the ground, and all get picked up within, 40 seconds.
I think it was 30 seconds. It was, 32 or something like that. I remember timing that and being like, that's a fucking lot.
That's enough to fill up one single Guardian's special weapon 3 times.
And that was only up until Liana had died in the clip. Post-death, that same special ammo that had been picked up probably passed hands another couple of times before finally being spent.
So, special ammo economy is a huge problem right now. Bungie sat there and they said with the ability change as far as PvP was concerned, they wanted more gunplay, but that doesn't matter with the shit if all the gunplay is special.
Or if it's all just shotguns still. There's really not a whole lot of variety in general play for it. It's either fusions or shotguns.
And the thing is I'm not the only person who said this. I don't mind having Destiny be a game where there's a lot of primary gunfight with abilities and everything else. I have friends who disagree and want it the opposite, where it's, evenly balanced, or they want more abilities than gunplay. That's what makes Destiny unique. Whatever. 1,000 other things I could say about that. But the thing is if you're going to nerf abilities, you nerf the one way to disrupt special. So unless you attune special to go with it, it's a rampant problem.
Also, primaries are just left in the dust.
Yeah.
It's, finding a primary fight, it's not as rare as it used to be, but, the pulling out to your special weapon and then immediately winning the fight is kind of still a problem, but that may just be a skill thing.
It's a way bigger problem in 6v6. In 3v3, trials and stuff like that, especially on, I have clips of me doing this, we round count. We count how many rounds are in someone's magazine for special ammo. And when we're round counting, if an enemy picks up special, you immediately assume they have +2. Not +1.
Because they're probably running scavs in trials.
They probably have a scav of some kind. Exactly. They probably, especially if it's Lorentz, you assume it's +2, possibly even +3. But you always assume that when someone picks up special, it's a +2. And so we round count because we're trying to guess how many, because that's what you have to do. Because if you don't, you're never going to see a primary gunfight or anything like that. And we round count, that way we know when it's okay to push with primaries and shit like that. Because specials just fucking roll. I mean, I hate to say it, but they do. So
Primaries
Anyway.
fall to in threes. Primaries come out a lot more, but it's open with special. If that doesn't work, primaries. Or you're working as a team. One person is laying primary fire onto a lane
Yeah.
to keep the fight there and active, while one or two other players are going around to go for a flank.
exactly.
Which
Yeah.
is a strategy that you then play against and have to always be ready for, is watching your flank. You always have to watch the side that you're not paying attention to.
Oh, we talk
Which
about,
is
we talk about
hard.
that all the time. Yeah, no, we talk about that all the time with with my trials team and everything else. One of the things that we sat there and talk about, we'll go up against teams and everything else, and they'll have one sniper, two shotgun, and the strategy to counter that is you either kill the sniper and hold the body, or you kill the shotgunners and hold theirs.
Yeah.
You split them up, and the thing is that's where round counting actually fucking matters, because you have to sit there and know when you can push a shotgun, or a fusion, or whatever. So, anyway, I've rambled about this. I feel enough to show. Anyway, so yes, special ammo economy is a huge, huge issue, and until we get a fix for it, it's going to continue to be that way, and that's the shitty part about it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, now that I've sat here and back in my day for half an hour, let's go ahead and move forward. So we talked a little bit about Void 3.0. I know we still have nothing new about it.
No, we didn't
But-
get anything new.
We have nothing new about it, but we could still, I think, discuss a little bit about it. And so, I'm going to start with this, and I just want to start with the Hunter Super. I'm curious to see how the hit detection / damage numbers are going to work out on that. Because if it's all 3 arrows have to hit a target to kill someone in PvP, it is the worst super in the game, hands down.
It would be an area shutdown, and that would be it.
Unless it does ridiculous amounts of damage, and then it becomes a super cancel.
To be
That's it.
fair, I think one arrow still is a kill in Crucible on multi-tether. I don't think you have to hit
It is.
someone and then hit
No,
them
if
again.
if you direct impact someone, they die.
Yeah. So with it being a tracking triple volley, I imagine it's going to be better. It's going to be more likely to
Yeah.
strike. But here's something that I noticed, remembered the other day. Spectral Blades exists, and
Did you forget about that?
what are they? It has 3 different supers. What are they just gonna just drop Spectral Blades for the same reason that we initially
Honestly,
lost Blade
it
Dancer
wouldn't-
before, because hit detection
Honestly,
is Garbo?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Or are we going to see them do something, and in that instance, what are they doing with Gwizinvest?
There's so much we could do there. Anyway, if you fix the hit detection, D1's hit detection for Arcblade was not incredible. There was some times where it was shit, but it was better than D2's.
And the reason they gave for going to Arc Staff versus Arc Blade was that hit detection. The staff was better at hit detection.
And then they gave us Spectral Blades.
And then they gave us Spectral Blades with the same hit detection problems.
Copy
Jeez.
paste, copy
Yep.
paste, palette swap, bingo, bango, bongo, bish, bash, bosh.
I'm concerned.
Slap some
actually,
invis
that-
on there and launch it.
I'm
Yeah,
concerned
send that
that
shit.
the invisibility options are going to be entirely too hot coming out the gate. That everyone is going to be invisible all the time.
Because
I
you could
ran
just
into a
put it-
team-
You might be able to just put it on anything now.
I don't
Well,
think
so-
specifically invisibility, but I imagine it's going to
Yeah.
be like there's going to be some combination. This is not like a wild dream combination either. This is something that I could see Bungie legitimately doing, where the stylus execution or whatever that grants you cloak. I can see them having some chain of abilities, like you grant allies devour. When allies are granted devour, cloak them too.
Oh, I can see what you're saying. So, are you familiar with the flawless execution build that exists now?
No.
Okay, so there is surprisingly a Spectral Blades build that still works relatively well in current day PvP. And so, for those of you that do not remember, which I wouldn't blame you for not remembering,
Spectral Blades was hot for a minute there.
Spectral Blades has a ability on it called Flawless Execution, where if the Guardian crouches and gets a headshot kill, they will go invisible, and they will get 3 seconds of true sight, aka wall hacks. They'll see Guardian outlines for 3 seconds.
Which I'm surprised isn't a bigger deal, like seeing Wish Enders in trials, especially with the special ammo economy. I'm surprised we don't see wall hacks all the time.
Oh yeah, no, it's nuts. So what the build is you run that with Stompies. Shocker, I know. For
So
slide
different.
distance, because the thing is it's actually really reactive, and so the second you get out of your slide, you can hit the headshot, and it will count that as a crouching headshot. And they'll run it with Chaperone.
Oh no.
Or they'll run it with a sniper, and there's someone who's a decent shot. And, when you can see wall hacks, like if wall hacks in quotation marks, when you can see the outline of a Guardian and know when they're coming to an opening to take the headshot, it creates a chaining problem.
Yes.
So, let's say they build on that a little bit, like KOB. Let's say that your idea is correct, and we get, give Devour to teammates. When Devour is given to teammates become invisible.
There, with Stylus Execution, I'm going back and looking at the text just to be sure. Stylus Execution is defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile enemy makes you invisible. Your next melee while invisible weakens the target. You're gonna be able to chain it again, and it's only going to be punch them twice, and you're invisible again.
That's not as bad,
No,
in my
you can
opinion. I'd
still
rather
counter
take that.
It's
But-
risk and reward kind of thing, so it doesn't
Yeah.
sound too bad.
No, but it could also, we don't know how many ways they're going to be to apply volatile or suppressions as
I can't wait for the meme build where you sit there and you punch someone, they punch you, you fucking cross counter their ass while they're weakened in PvP.
Yeah.
Ha ha,
Yeah.
big damage number, go burr.
Even
But
though the second punch would have killed them anyway, because 2 punches do 100 damage each.
yeah, no, you're right. But if haha, big number would go burr. That in theory would one shot a super though.
The cross counter probably could, as long
Cross
as you
counter-
could survive.
Cross counter can't I mean, I guess it can one shot a super by itself because it is 300 damage, but that would guarantee it.
The strongest damage resistance is just about 50%, so that would be 150. So they would have to already be kind of weak for that for the
Yeah,
cross
but the
counter
first
to
punch
hit.
is going to do the other 50.
Yeah, the first punch is going to do 50 plus.
But anyway, sorry. We're off that rant for a minute. Anyway, with Void, I agree with you, KOB. Like, we don't know how many ways they're going to be to suppress to make people volatile and everything else. I'm not going to lie, I'd love to see a build for Titans where Void detonators could actually become a viable threat for crowd control in PvP. Especially, I want to see someone, I've seen fucking Icebreaker wipes. I've seen fucking Cloud Strike wipes in one bullet. I want to see a Void Detonator, 6K. I want to see
Yeah.
shit like that. Because that's, I like that a bit better. But we'll see how that goes and everything else. The one thing I'm really, 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 really worried about is Devour.
Being too strong or too weak?
Being too strong.
Being
If
too
Devour,
easy to get.
Yeah, if Devour is going to give health regeneration on opponents defeated like it does now for every class, and it's just getting an ability kill and then prolong. I'm sure it's going to change, but if it's, something along those lines of getting an ability kill, you just gave every single class in the game a free Wormhusk Crown ability, and Hunters can have two.
And
Pretty
They can have
much,
their
yeah.
dodge heal them, and they can have their ability, anything. That's a ridiculous amount of health going in the game.
And it's a free reset at the end of each encounter. So your 1v1s and even your 2v1s, I wouldn't push it to 3v1s, but your 1v1s and 2v1s, if you kill any one of those targets, you just reset your encounter for yourself. You don't
it's-
have any lasting repercussions other than needing to reload.
It's the same thing that
And then you can just
Wormhusk
hunter
does
dodge
now.
if you got that on.
Exactly. So one of the most lethal builds out there. I don't know if you two have used this hand cannon recently. Crimson does rather well in current.
Oh, I've seen it. I've experienced it on the other end.
You just gotta
it
get
does.
used to it.
Yeah, no, it takes a bit of practice, but it does rather well. Wormhusk Crimson Hunters running around with fucking Golden Gun or anything like that to back up a sniper rifle or whatever, fucking slap. They just never die because you have so much health. Or Suros. Suros is fucking incredible in current meta right now because
Especially
of
with
dual speed
Catalyst.
receiver. Yeah, with the Catalyst being a 1 out, making your chance to heal a 1 in 3, and you have Wormhusk, and all this other shit, and the fact that dual speed receiver is super fucking solid right now. If you haven't used it, I highly recommend it.
Is the 600 or 360 the way to go with it?
So spinning up is not. Here's the thing about spinning up, and this is the thing about this has always existed, and a lot of people don't realize this. Suros with spinning up is worse than a normal 600 auto rifle, and the reason why is because a normal 600 auto rifle does 25 damage on a headshot.
Mm-hmm.
These numbers may have changed, but this is when I remember it. Suros did, I believe this was during Season of the Auto Rifle, so that's a good comparison. I'll frame it from there. But Season of, was that a Rivals? Where autos were ripping. Anyway.
Yeah.
So let's use those damage numbers because the thing I'm trying to talk about hasn't changed. But Gnawing Hunger, for example, did 25 damage headshots.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is about Suros, and we've experienced this before, is because it starts out firing slower and then the damage increases the faster it fires, the first part of the magazine does 24 damage, while the end of the magazine, the last 10 bullets, do 26. So that's why people would dump half of their mag into the ground with Suros. It's not just for the fire rate increase. You're not doing the same damage as a normal 600 for the first half of the magazine, which puts you at a disadvantage. Now, I personally, and I've thought this even back then, I hate spinning up. It's super inconsistent in my mind. Bullets legitimately have a chance just to not count.
Is it the bullet spread itself when it's spinning up?
Well, see, it's not. I don't blame it on the spread. I honestly blame it on the hit detection because the thing is about Suros is Suros with Catalyst has 100 recoil direction. It's a perfectly straight line when you spin up. So without Catalyst, that could be an argument, but with Catalyst, and I'm going to say most people probably have it, that's no longer an issue, and the bullets still just don't count. They'll just ghost sometimes. The same thing that Last Word has. It's too fucking bad. Now, for the 360, for high-speed receiver, high-speed receiver got a change this season to where if you are running it, your Suros gets plus 30 range and plus 3 zoom. It is fucking incredible right now. It can contest pulse rifles, it can contest messengers, it can contest hand cannons. You're doing 36 damage headshots. Mind you, you still have that glass half full perk at the bottom half. You could still dump your magazine and do 36, 7, and 8 damage with that bottom half of your magazine. And you're getting the health regeneration. Now, mind you, my Trials team has a person on it who uses Boots of the Assembler. You get any damage buff of any kind on that fucking gun, an Empowering Rift, anything like that, you can kick up to 43 damage headshots. 5 bullets. And you have all this range, you have no recoil. Suros is incredible right now.
Suros is like getting a really high range roll on a False Promises or a Crusher Ramello.
Yeah, it's the 360 you've always wanted but never could get because Bungie doesn't want them to be that, it's there.
And
anyway.
it's just the range difference that makes it huge there.
Yeah, it's just, well, and the zoom helps a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, because Suros' reticle is pretty short range.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's the range. The range is what it fucking needed. If you recall, I guess we're going to kind of go into our next topic here, which is talking about sandbox, current weapon, and everything else.
Yeah, we don't have anything really to talk about on Void other than, like, we're
not Void
scared
3.0.
of how hot it might be in Crucible.
That motherfucker might be hotter than like, fucking fabrication, okay? That shit is up there.
Yeah.
But when it comes to current weapons and everything else, so I'm not going to talk about DMT. Here's why. Here's the one thing I'll say about it. I'm scared about 2 things. I'm scared about, A, the amount of backlash people are going to have for the DMT catalyst now being a random drop. Because it is a catalyst like no other. I would argue there is not a catalyst that makes a gun that much better in the game, period.
I don't know. You could argue for
disagree.
Whisper.
Here's the thing, though. Whisper, sure, it is a much bigger damage increase and everything else. I can't deny that. But it doesn't change fundamentally how Whisper works.
It also doesn't change the way you would use the gun. Well, no, I guess maybe it does, because whispered breathing isn't a thing for it beforehand, is it?
No, Whisper,
No, it is.
you just...
Before the
No.
catalyst, it's there. It's the catalyst increases its damage.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
No.
Let's not argue on that too much.
This is coming from
I'll
the
look
PvE
at it.
player.
Don't you even. I will jump over this table. No. Anyway. No. Regardless, I still stand by my point. It doesn't change how it doesn't change how you use Whisper to the extent that DMT is. You quite literally have two different weapons in your hand when you're using DMT, and that all depends on if you're aiming down sights or if you're hip firing.
It is the catalyst.
No other
perk, by the way.
catalyst does that.
Damn it. Fuck.
So
I could have sworn. Maybe I'm thinking of a different gun.
I'm worried about the backlash from that because, I'm not gonna lie. There's other catalysts that are going into the pool that I'm super happy about. Fourth Horseman, Outbreak, and Whisper, fucking love it. I'm glad. Those are amazing catalysts for those weapons, and I'm glad that other people can get them because they make the guns better in every capacity. But I'm worried about the backlash from the DMT one. Now, the other thing I'm worried about is the Zur system, and here's why. You're allowed to get up to 3 rolls of that DMT, not 1 per week.
It's the
3.
fixed roll. It's a fixed guaranteed that roll for that week.
No, I get that. You're allowed to get up to 3. And I don't know why this worries me, but Bungie says it's fixed perk, right? It's a perk set, it's a perk roll that week, right?
Yeah.
Humor me a little bit. Say Bungie accidentally puts the wrong one on week 1 and it's got transformative. Just for shits and giggles. I understand it's probably not going to happen, but I'm worried about how a transformative exotic is going to function in a vendor. I know Bungie has stated that they want it to be a fixed roll. I am worried that something is going to break and make it not a fixed roll.
Considering how the transformative perk works and your first pickup that you get doesn't have a random perk on it, I imagine that anyone that would have transformative would not randomly roll a perk instead.
Speaking of which, real side note here real quick. I was playing against someone in Trials the other day, and they were fucking using the transformative DMT.
I mean,
they just
when you got nothing else
presage
you want to
once.
use.
Exactly. So, anyway, those are my 2 concerns for DMT. Hawkmoon, perfectly fine with it, no complaints. The other 4 exotics that are getting catalysts, Whisper, Outbreak, Fourth Horseman. What's the other one I'm missing? Whisper, Outbreak, Fourth Horseman, Hawkmoon, DMT.
Yeah.
What's the 6th?
Let me go look at the thing. DMT,
Sleeper?
Hawkmoon, Aegers, Outbreak, Whisper,
That's what
and
it
Fourth
is.
Horseman.
Scepter. Okay, cool. I don't mind any. I'm cool with all that. As far as what I'd like to see going into Witch Queen as changes, there's a few things. We gotta tone down we gotta tune 740s. 740s right now are literally contesting every special weapon in the game, and I'm not saying that's a bad
fusions?
thing.
Yes.
Yeah, 740 fusions,
Oh,
precision frame
absolutely.
fusions.
Yeah.
Like main ingredient plug 1. We need to tune these. Now, I'm not going to argue as heavily for rapid fires because on rapid fires, you cannot miss a single bolt. They all have to hit for the kill. So I'm
you
not
gotta
going
be
to
within
necessarily...
a certain range or your stability is going to throw a bolt wide.
Exactly. And I'm not going to argue against it because if I argue against that, then I got to argue against shotgun pellet distribution and everything like that too. So it's not a fair argument in my opinion. So I'm fine with rapid fires the way that they are. I think rapid fires have the perfect little niche where they are right now, where they're a wonderful anti-rush tool. I have someone on my fire team who uses zealots all the time, and she uses it as an anti-rush tool. Now, you can use it as a rushing tool as well. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm going to argue that the majority of the PvP player base is going to use it as an anti-rush tool.
They use it as ape away.
Yeah, exactly. Now, 740s, on the other
repellent.
hand, are fucking ridiculous. Now, I want to give Bungie props for something. At the beginning of this season, the only fusion rifle that was worth using was the Exile's Curse from Trials with an Adept version with Kickstart, because you could one-shot from so fucking far. And now, people are doing it with Plug 1 because of, the changes and everything else. High impacts now don't have a place.
No, and they
that
take a
needs
year to charge.
Exactly.
I
That
think-
needs to change.
Yeah. I think even if
Bungie's-
they reduce it just a little bit, it
Yeah,
probably
no.
be better.
So here's the thing. Let me give you something that I thought about the other day, and it's changed my whole perspective on how Bungie views things. I'm gonna name every exotic fusion rifle in the game, and you're gonna notice a theme.
They're
There's
all rapid
Merciless.
fires.
Well, hang on. There's Merciless. There's Telesto. There's Jotun. There's 1K. Those are all the exotic fusion rifles in the game. Now, I'm throwing out 1K because 1K is a rule breaker, right?
Well, I would argue Jotun can be considered that same way, but for the sake of this argument, 1K is definitely it's a heavy, so
Yeah,
automatically is already like.
Now, Merciless, I think, is fine. Now, mind you, Merciless's charge time is actually the worst in the game. Merciless has a charge time currently of 1040 ms,
Yes.
which is
The only thing slower than it is an Iota Draconis who has triggered Adagio.
Adagio. Yep. Now, mind you, Merciless makes up for that with obviously, conservative momentum, so it gets faster, it turns into a rapid fire, and B, Merciless's catalyst is fucking incredible.
And it's just a stat catalyst, too. It's not even anything special, because it's one of those year
No.
one stat catalysts.
You're right. Normally I wouldn't rant about a year 1 catalyst, but a year 1 catalyst that adds 36 stability and 36 range to a fusion rifle is nothing to say anything bad about. Plus, it's got 69 aim assist, so always good in my book. Haha, funny number.
Haha, funny number. It's the drug number, right, guys? Right? Guys?
Sure.
Hello? Is this thing on?
He's trying. Now, the two things that I want to point out, and I think once I point this out, you'll understand where I'm going with this. The fusion rifle changes, and especially with particle deconstruction and everything else, I would argue have benefited mainly 740s. Yes, I'm not going to lie, Cartesian's fucking nuts in PvE right now, but that's not a problem because it's PvE balancing, and I don't really mind, because that's kind of how Bungie's done seasons.
Nuts. It's just that particle deconstruction exists.
Yeah, well, let me rephrase that. It makes it the best one in the game. Like, it makes it the best DPS fusion in the game. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Now, Telesto and Jotun are, surprise, surprise, 780 ms, aka their precision frame charge times. I am almost positive that when they thought of PD, aka particle deconstruction, the changes that came to fusion rifles were because they wanted these two to feel powerful as exotics. And
Aside
as
from
such,
Telesto, potentially gaining sentience this season.
do not upset the god.
Careful, Kelby. He might hear us.
Yeah, he might fucking come after us.
Look, okay,
Anyway.
I have my Telesto shrine set up. I do my daily ritual there. You should be alright.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, this season of the fusion rifle has had quite a few things. The fucking Subsistence Reservoir Burst Glaciocasm, I fucking love it to death.
If only
That's
one
one
of
of
my
the ones I've
favorites.
seen kill people from like 45 meters away with a Luna's empowering rift.
Empowering Rift, yeah, no. High impacts can get some nutty things going. But anyway, so that I'm going to bank is going to change because this is how it happens every season. They buff the weapon that now the thing that I'm interested in next season is Bungie says they're not making an artifact mod like PD. So we had PD and we've had Breaching Clear, we've had Oppressive Darkness, mods that ridiculously increase your damage. Or mods that increase the damage of a certain weapon type.
I would not be surprised if we saw Oppressive Darkness considering Void 3.0.
No, I'm hoping for that because Oppressive Darkness makes everything in the PvE sandbox better, not just one weapon type.
Same with Breach and
Yes.
Clear, but I don't think we're gonna see that for a while
As a
again.
Void Warlock main, hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I'm hoping Oppressive comes back. Now, with that being said, I am almost positive that obviously fusions are going to get tuned. This is how it happens every season. I don't think that 740s / the exotic 780s are in a terrible spot. In fact, I think they're in a really, really, really good spot. You just need to tune down the range in PvP by about 5 meters.
I think that's actually the strategy that they employ is that they take a look at a weapon class that they feel like is either under or overperforming, and they give it that mod
Buff the fuck out
want,
of it.
because they want to get the usage stats
Data.
up so they can figure out what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense.
No, I think it's 110%. I agree. I think that's what they do.
And that's why
Now-
we're probably not going to get a crazy hot rockets do extra damage mod, because they already have rockets where they want them, or they think they do anyway.
Gjallarhorn is fucking incredible, and I'm not saying that because it's broken. It's consistent. It's balanced. It's good DPS, but it's not ridiculous.
And
Yep.
it's only good to run one on a team.
Yeah, it's you run one galley, and then you have a whole bunch of other people using different legendary rocket launchers, which opens up your exotic slot, so you have more exotics being thrown in. Gjallarhorn is a fucking incredible example of PvE tuning. Now, as far as PvP, jumping back over to where we're supposed to be, keep floating on the edge here.
Did we leave? We didn't leave. We've been PvP the whole time.
Uh-huh.
Just look at the background
PvE
footage.
and PvP is so very thin.
Just look at the background footage. Now, there are some weapons that do well in PvP that, honestly, I'm happy for. Like, Witherhoard is fucking incredible right now because Stag Rift is super, super common in 3s. Witherhoard does great. Monarch, unfortunately, does great.
Talking shit about my lemon.
Listen, I'm not talking shit about it because my counter for it is Ignition Code Lemon. But, I can still hate the fact that I use it. But we have a lot of weapons. Here's I'm going to talk about what I would like to see change. I have 3 big things I want to be changed, and then I want to hand it over to you two to hear what you want to be changed, because I don't want to just hog all of this. But top big thing number 1, I've had some people tell me that they argue that precision weapons in PvP should have no aim assist, and I honestly agree. I think that sniper rifles, and we're talking specifically specials and heavies to clarify, sniper rifles and linear fusions should have no aim assist of any kind. And
yeah, Lorenz can hit headshots when aimed at the chest and shit. It's wild.
You can hip fire headshot with it consistently. It's fucking nuts. So it needs to, but I'm telling you right now, it would fix so many problems. And I understand I probably am going to suffer from this because I love my bullet magnetism / aim assist, but it's a change that needs to happen. At this point, it's too fucking powerful. It's just not going to work.
I think we could actually get away with extending that to a lesser degree to all quote-unquote precision-type weapons. Scout rifles, hand cannons, maybe pulse rifles. I don't know if they would count onto that, but still. Than the sniper rifles and linear fusions. The sniper rifles and linear fusions getting the quote-unquote worst of it and having none, with the hand cannon and scout rifle and other quote-unquote precision-style weapons that you want to aim for the head for, getting a reduced aim assist. Because, I mean, that's part of what makes hand cannons really fucking good, is they have some of the highest aim
don't worry,
assist
I'm gonna
to
talk about
normal
that in a
cone
minute.
ratio.
I'm gonna talk about that motherfucker in just a minute.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
But I don't disagree that the weapons that reward the precision the most probably don't need the aim assist. Some of it so that netcode and shit doesn't fuck you over, but not like consistent hip fires across the map levels of.
Exactly. Suka, anything to add?
I would say I want to see a completely different meta. Like, this argument has gone before. Every single meta always goes back to the hand cannon and shotgun, and it is that way. And I want to see something different. I loved when it was auto rifle meta. That was fun. It was different.
Call of Duty Simulator.
I mean, yeah, but like, why? I don't know.
I'm not knocking it, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Having heard the opposing argument to auto rifles, I see where the people that don't just slave to their hand cannon shotgun, that auto rifle was not good. It was not that it wasn't good, it's that it was brain dead, which one could argue hand cannon shotgun is also brain dead.
PvP is fucking brain dead.
But you didn't have to do anything to get free kills. You could be, peeking toenails, as they said, and get kills. And I was like, okay, I can see that, but it was different. And it was like, why couldn't it be different? Why couldn't things then be tuned around, like, making other things good that way?
Yes.
Yeah.
You bring everything up
it's
instead of
back.
Yeah, you bring everything up instead of pushing everything back down.
But then you get the problem with power creep when you try to bring everything up against something else, because then things are just going to keep rising and rising and rising. So I understand why things need to be brought down, but yes, in that meta, auto rifles were a little bit overtuned. But again, things happen where things get nerfed, and they are nerfed just a little bit too much to where they are unviable. Look at not just the auto rifles. Going back to something else, like look at an example that I think of that recently happened was Anarchy. It got double nerfed, and now it's
does
useless.
this all the time, by the way. We've talked about this.
The
we talked
monkey
about this in the PvE episode too. They do this all the time. Anarchy, Izzy's, sniper rifles as a whole.
Oh,
in
man,
PvE because of
Sniper rifles
Izzy's.
went one way and then hard 180 to the other.
Yeah,
we were driving on the highway, everything else perfectly fine, and then fucking got T-boned by a semi.
Yeah.
Like, it was... Anyway,
To be fair, I've never seen anybody successfully use Anarchy in PvP because it's a heavy.
Well, Bakken did, but we can't talk about him because,
Well, we don't know how legit any of that is.
Exactly. Speaking of which, real quick, if for those that don't know, I'm gonna rag on him a little bit. He came back after the dislike counter got removed off YouTube.
Oh, you know what? I just had an idea of
wah.
something that might make Anarchy worth, like, just as a trap tool.
Mm-hmm.
If you have Anarchy equipped and you grab Heavy, it doesn't remove the Heavy indicator for the enemy team for X amount of time.
It's true.
And then you have a Heavy trap. You have a use for that heavy ammo, is trap the Heavy.
Yeah, that's true.
But not every heavy needs a use in PvP or
No,
PvE.
but it literally does
at
not
Truth.
have a use.
Look at Truth.
No.
Truth has a use, and that is flick your rockets.
I'm
not
telling you
flicking
right
my
now.
rocket at some fucking Drake.
Whoa. Let's calm down here about flicking rockets, okay?
Don't flick the bean. Don't flick the bean.
Oh. We'll be right back after these short messages. No, I'm just kidding.
We just get cut off. YouTube just takes the video down.
an hour and 20 minutes in.
Anyway, so, here's change number 2, now that we've gone on that tangent. I'm going to say it right now, and I main as a hunter, and I'm going to say it right now. Some of my teammates, even my teammates who play hunters, agree that aerial accuracy on hunters is fucking ridiculous.
In which way? Which
Hand
direction?
cannons. Ridiculously good.
Okay.
Hand cannons, sniper rifles, fucking fusions. Hunters can use fusions in the air.
Yeah.
You know, I got enough people who already bitch at me because we can fucking shatter skate, so I don't need this. But here's the thing. I know there's a lot of people out there that are probably going to be upset if they hear this, and that's fine. But I am telling you right now, hunters should have half the in-air accuracy of every other class.
I
No,
don't know about half.
what about
but-
like a Heat Rises Warlock? Don't they have
Well,
crazy
so-
inner accuracy?
Yeah, well, you don't have anything when you're on heat rises. It's like you're
That's
standing on the
true.
ground.
I don't know about half as much accuracy because I mean, the
They're gonna
benefit
run
of
an
a-
Ick grip anyway.
Huh?
They're gonna run Ick grip anyway to counteract it, and Adept Ick grip too.
Right.
And I think that's fine.
But the benefit of of being on a hunter with your jump in the air is that you can go up and still shoot. Whereas on a warlock and a titan, without a specific
You go
exotic
up,
on
but no soup.
on warlock, you can't go up and shoot. You have to stop the jump and then you can start shooting again.
What is that? Wings of Sacred Dawn?
Yeah, which
Yeah.
turns you into you're hovering.
NAC 130.
Yeah, but now you're just in the air, being almost a
sit
nearly
there.
stationary target.
You sit there and you go wham, wham. No, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it needs to be changed. As much as I
Watching
love
the
jumping up into the air,
stream, I absolutely
exactly.
agree.
No, exactly.
I think that's an
I'm
interaction with aim assist more than anything else, which point one
we already
would
talked
solve.
about that. Yeah. So, it needs to be tuned. You know what? Point one might fix this issue, but I don't care how Bungie fixes it. It needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
The final thing that I'm going to bring up, and then I'm going to let these two talk about what's on their mind, is shotguns right now. When the fusion rifle changes happen this upcoming season, shotguns are going to still be very, very, very prominent. And I'm not saying snipers aren't either. But
Yeah, but I see like 3 shotguns to every 1 sniper.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. The first 2 things we've talked about addresses snipers. And hand cannons and everything else. Fuck, even DMT.
I mean, I did
but
say scout rifles.
when it comes to shotguns, Bungie, you gotta do something. And there's a few things I can think of. A lot of people are gonna fucking hate me for this one. I think that the current pellet spread of shotguns in PvP should widen twice as fast.
You mean like for range?
Yeah. So I think that the current cone that we have in the current circle, I think that your bullets should, widen and to that maximum distance and that spread twice as quickly. Because especially with certain shotguns like Stompies, Felwinters, shit like that, it's fucking ludicrous just the consistency you can get with certain things like slide shot and everything else. And for slugs, we've already talked about it. We've talked about taking aim assist off precision weapons, so weapons like Chaperone get their comeuppance too.
Yeah.
So
Aim assist definitely is what makes Chaperone able to consistently
Exactly.
hit those 30+ meter headshot kills.
The fuck sniper shotgun
exactly.
hybrid.
So it needs to happen. Fusion rifles right now, as much as I hate to say it, in their current state, are probably the most balanced special in the game.
Absolutely.
And that's sad, I'm not gonna lie, because they are very not balanced. But
But currently they are. Compared
Yeah,
to
but
everything
currently-
else.
yeah, currently that they're solid. You got rapid fires for close range, you got precisions for that long range combat and everything else, and you got high impacts if you hate yourself.
And then there's
And then there's the Lorentz driver of fusion rifle, excuse me. Anyway, if you tune special this way, honest to God, I don't care if you fucking don't do anything with special economy, because at that point they're compatible. I don't want specials to not do anything. I want them to be compatible by someone with a primary weapon. And I'm not saying I want them to be equal. The person with the special weapon obviously should have some form of an advantage, but they still should be compatible to the average player. Sure, people like me who sit there and spend all their time in trials wasting it and everything else, sure, I know how to decently counter a shotgun or a fusion or a sniper. I know when I should peek and when I shouldn't, yada 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 yada.
Not me though.
But if you want to get more people into PvP game modes like trials and IB and everything else, you fix special ammo and if you fix special ammo economy and you fix specials as a whole and you make it a primary gunfight, you're gonna have a lot more people hop into those game modes.
Yeah. That's half the reason why I stay away from PvP most of the time, is because I don't like the special ammo thing. It's you're always about to run around a corner into a shotgun, and
yeah,
if you
that
I don't like
or
threes.
just movement.
Yeah, I don't like threes personally. So in sixes, how do you play around the guy who's just coming around the corner that you had no way of knowing because they just spawned and they're around the corner with a shotgun ready to blast you? So how do you fight that other than being that guy? And that's where our problem comes in, is the most effective way to deal with a shotgun is to also be a shotgun.
Yes.
Or force him into an open lane so you can use either your fusion or sniper rifle.
Right. The most
not a
effective way to
primary
deal
fight.
with a shotgun is either ape at him, because that's what he's doing, and
Or outrange
that
it.
works, or you range it, and you don't really have any space to do that on most maps.
Yeah, that's another problem with the type of weapon usage that's happening is map design and we used to have a lot more long-range maps, but just the maps that we are currently left with don't leave much for long-range fights. Like, there are very few maps for scout rifles. There's tons of maps for shotguns,
Yeah.
for hand cannons, closer range weapons, fusions, anything that's mid to close range. There are tons and tons of maps. Not tons that we currently have, but more of those maps outweigh than the ranged.
It's because
I'll jump.
Bungie wants to promote this fast-paced gameplay, so they need to put everybody in close quarters. But
But
Yeah.
that
then they
most of the
try
time.
and say, well, we don't want these guns to be quite so hot, so they start to fix them, and then they're never going to fix the problem, which is they're going to continue to be effective until we have maps that don't promote their effective use.
And I'm gonna jump in here real quick. These two are. I just want to clarify something. These two are not saying that weapons like sniper rifles and pulses and things like that are bad. What they are saying is that the average PvP player is not going to spend the time to sit there and learn how to be a perfect fucking crack shot with long-range weapons like snipers and pulses and everything else, and scout rifles and everything else, to use them on maps like, I don't know, fucking Anomaly or some shit like that.
Yep.
Even Wormhaven, where there's the one long lane that you could get away with it, you're just going to play inside. Because that's where the
Or you're
point
gonna snipe
is,
outside.
that's where the heavy is, that's where
the game is forcing you to be.
yeah.
Or you're gonna snipe outside. That's it.
And that's the lane I was talking about, is you got your one lane on Wormhaven.
Yep.
And if somebody
So-
else is already on Wormhaven's lane, you're not going there.
Not unless you think you're a better shot and you want an ego challenge.
And you gotta be
True.
able to, you gotta know where they're at already, and be able to get into the lane, get lined up, and get the shot off before their hardscoping ass sees you and shoots you.
Speaking of something real quick, I want to just backtrack and just pause for just a minute. I saw a video today, and I just was bored, so I clicked on it, and it was people one-phasing Sanctified Mine in current season. They were using fucking Izzies!
Yeah?
They used Izzies and then just switched to like PD on like Threaded Needle or whatever, and I'm like, why even fucking worry about the honed edge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the point? Anyway,
Just used Arbalist in that slot.
yeah, just use Arb and Threaded, or use Sleeper and something else. But no, so here's the thing I'll say about PvP. about at least where we sit right now. There are way too many fucking maps that restrict you than... I mean, look at what's it fucking called? Anomaly, or Bannerfall, or Twilight Gap.
Exodus Blue, yes.
Exodus Blue. These are all maps that really, really reward that rush playstyle. A lot of tight corners, tight hallways, a lot of places to break engagement and everything else. Sure, you can snipe on them. I'm not saying you can't. I do. Don't get me wrong. But PvP should not legitimately be either use a shotgun, get decent with it, be called an ape and everything else, and, you know, learn how to do that and everything else, or devote your life to it, you know, and everything else. Devote 7 years to it like I have. Learn how to snipe and everything else, and learn how to use all the weapons in the game in PvP, just so you can decently enjoy it, but you're the 1% that it's going to. It's fucking terrible. I want people to... you know how many people back I could sit there and I used to be like, let's play some Iron Banner. They're like, fuck yeah! And now they're like, let's play some Iron Banner. And I'm like, they're like, I'm not willing to ruin my chair with that much sweat.
What are the rewards?
What are the rewards?
What do I get for doing
I
it?
am one of those people that
I
will go in PvP only if I absolutely have to, or if I kind of just want to, which I kind of did. I played PvP for the first time in, like, I don't know, maybe 7 weeks.
Miracles do happen.
Yeah, and from playing at that time, I did notice, you know, I haven't played since the probably just a little bit before the ability changes. And playing in this, you know, in Control in 6v6 in this current meta we have with abilities, I will say it felt a lot more fun and less like, you know, it didn't feel like Overwatch where everything is an ability spam, which wasn't fun because but there also is still the problem of casuals versus I don't want to say sweat. Well,
no.
Sweats.
No, that's what exactly what it is. It's your casual your average player versus your sweat. And
going up against running into a few of them in my matches, it's their movement and their gunplay and their spatial awareness is something that I can't compete against. And that's fine. I'm not saying I should be able to compete against someone that's played the game for 7 years and, you know, went against them for the first time playing them when I'm just casual running my kind of average build with maybe a sidearm or something. For double primary, because I don't want to give the sweats any special.
But you should still have
fun. The way I play PvP, right? Oh yeah, I did enjoy it more than I usually did before. There was 2 matches on what's that one map that's got a really long? It's really good for snipers. It's like in the city it's not Bannerfall. Town?
Widow's Court?
No. Midtown.
It was Midtown, and I played it 2 times in like the 4 matches. It was one after another. The first time, it was me and Ellis in Control, and the first time there was a team of, I guess I'm gonna say sweats, or they were just abusing the way the map worked. Just the game was super slow. We made it to time, barely breaking 100. Maybe we didn't even do that. Because they were sitting in the back of the maps in their spawns with scouts and snipers and DMTs, which, no, that's fine. It's like the one map you can do that with. But how slow that game went because they knew how to do that.
Yeah.
They knew how to trap us. They knew how to take their time when we tried to rush, but they're like, I'm just gonna shoot at you as you're coming up this lane. Because I can see you. I can see your spawn from my spawn.
Yeah, you can blame Bungie for that because of the longer respawns modifier.
Yeah.
Which I'm so happy for that thing to fucking go away.
It's only 2 seconds though, from what I can tell. It's a 5 second versus 7 seconds.
2 seconds is a lot of time.
I understand
2 seconds is enough time to get.
2 seconds does end up like helping the snowball effect.
I understand that
in
this may be the
sixes.
sweat part of me / meta slave part of me sitting there and going like, it matters, but like it does. Like
It
that's
does. No, it does.
2 seconds is the difference between a spawn camp and
Yes, and
when
I
a
understand
comeback.
that, but in the day-to-day play, 2 seconds doesn't mean anything.
no.
Oh, in
Well,
the
that's because you don't-
casual, no, it doesn't.
Well, that's because I would argue you just don't feel it.
Right, exactly.
You know, you don't care as much, obviously, in fucking control.
I'm just
or,
in there
you
for
know,
the bounties.
Yeah, I
if
mean,
you're
you know,
not
you're not
getting spawn trapped, you don't notice the 7 seconds. If you are getting spawn trapped,
yeah.
every second is agonizing.
it's as I say, it's the longest
yeah.
7 seconds of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing with it goes back to close quarters maps when someone pops a super that lasts a relatively long time and getting killed. You know, getting killed by that super, respawning, and then getting killed by that super just after you respawned.
Hello, Fists of Havoc.
Hello, Fits of Havoc. Hello.
Bleak Watcher.
Oh, yeah. Winter's Wrath. Yeah, absolutely. It's not as bad as it used to be because of the super recharge, but back in
But it's
in
still-
those days when it was, oh my god,
There's
I hated
one
PvP
there's
so
one word
much.
to describe it, and even it still even applies to to this current meta. PvP for people who don't sit there and practice it is a slog. That is
Yes.
Yeah.
that is still the issue here. But yeah, that's
I haven't personally played PvP for most of the season. Like the last
Good
the
for you.
10th week or whenever the last
Challenge?
PvP related challenge was given in. That's probably the last time I actually meaningfully played any PvP. I haven't gone in and played anything outside of that. I haven't even gone and done my get 20 trials round wins just because I haven't felt
Good.
like it.
Yeah.
Good.
And I don't have any
Because
reason to.
It takes time to build that skill in PvP, and it does also in PvE, but it's a different kind of thing. My example that I use for myself is I came from Destiny. I came from playing Overwatch, which is a strictly PvP game for unless it's like one time a year, or maybe twice.
Junkenstein's Revenge.
Junkenstein's and Anniversary. But
Let's go.
yeah. But learning how to play that game where it's strictly PvP, it's strictly a 6v6 with abilities and stuff like that. I'm a support main, and I made it all the way up to diamond, and when I made it into to comp, yeah, I made it a
fucking
diamond
go!
support. Learning how to get there took like 2 years. 2 years to be able to learn positioning for each of the supports and how they work. And that's
just
kind
a
of how
limited
it works
subset.
with. And it does apply over to Destiny. Trying to get good at being a PvP warlock, a PvP hunter, and then you got to go into the how do I use Golden Gun, how do I use Blade Barrage, how do I use Spectral Blades, Dawn
You
Blade,
cry.
all the but getting the experience to know how to use these abilities takes time. And because Destiny is such a Destiny 2 in particular is such a fast-paced game, that's why it feels bad for casuals.
Yeah.
As
The
someone who
pacing
skirts
is
the
not
line,
like D1.
as someone who skirts the line between the casual and the sweat, I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily super mega awesome crazy good skill, but I'm also not just a strict
Brain dead.
casual brain dead, don't really know what I'm doing. I'm your literally average 1.0 to 2.0 a game player. With
Yeah,
the
same.
occasional weird pop off where I'll get a 4 or a 7.0 game and then I'll get
That's
a message
because
calling
they
someone
match
a
you
hack.
with blueberries.
And someone calls me a hacker, and I'm like, okay, cool, I was just using a cold denial,
God, I missed-
whatever.
God, I miss those days.
But
I
I
wish
feel
every
like I
fucking
can,
game
I
I
can
played
sit
wasn't
here
just a
and
slog.
understand both sides of the problems for PvP, because I do sit in the middle. For the casual player, it sucks ass, because getting stomped isn't fun, and you don't ever improve if you only ever play people
Iron
of your
Banner.
skill or lower.
TM.
But you don't have a chance to improve if the enemies you're matching with are playing such a
Are
high
just-
level above
Yeah.
you that you can't
If you're getting
do anything.
Vaseline, if you're getting Vaseline every match, I mean,
Yeah. But then,
it's
conversely, the high skill players, they want their moments where they can be like, yeah, my skill and hard work is paying off, I've just wrecked their asses. But then
But
they're
they're-
no longer improving. They
Their
don't
ego.
get any better. And that feeds the ego, like you were going to say. And that presents itself a whole other set of problems, because then they don't see where they're not capable of improving. Everyone at every level is capable of improving. Someone will always be better. But
Yes.
it's really hard to find a way to squash those gaps and make, like, matchmaking work for both sides of this argument. And it's near impossible. And then, because the sweats are so high on the ends compared to the casuals, this is the problem with the Trials suffers a lot, is really high engagement at the start, and then it just tapers off as the casuals get stomped into I don't want to play this anymore, and the sweats continue to play and farm those casuals. It's not as bad as I make it sound necessarily, but it is the problem. It's why Trials is at its lowest points now compared to when it was earlier on in the season.
Well, that's also why you have people who sit there and, that's why you see shit like paid recoveries or paid carries, or you have people who sit there and go, I don't play Trials unless I play with someone who goes flawless every week because I need to be carried. Because there's no point in trying to get better because you just get squashed.
You're
and
just
it doesn't
getting
feel
stomped,
fun.
yeah.
You can't start the journey of improvement because the wall, that 0 to 1 wall, is so high.
Exactly.
You're like,
so,
the first step, you gotta climb a mountain, and then you can climb the slightly less steep mountain.
Yeah.
you start with Everest, then you
Yeah.
move on to a molehill.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to bring one
a
last
molehill
thing up
on
real
top
quick.
of Everest.
Exactly. I want to bring one last thing up before we end this episode, and that's Bungie. Listen, I've bitched in PvE episodes in the past about, hey, can we get more strikes and everything else, but I'm not even necessarily wanting more PvP maps. I know we're gonna get some with Witch Queen. Can we get more game modes, Bungie? Like, don't get me wrong, Team Scorch is kind of fun. Countdown is fucking horrible. Please never launch that node ever again. But, like, listen, I have yet to get a solid response from anyone at Bungie at this. Why don't we have Rift back?
Probably because of a mechanical thing, and I think they're experimenting with wanting to bring Rift back as a returning mode during Witch Queen year.
Well, and they are, and the thing is in D1, yes, it did have a huge netcode problem, but they've gotten a lot of that figured out. Now, Supremacy, I could see some issues if it came back, because the whole tag thing in Supremacy really was hard on the netcode back in D1. So I could see Supremacy not coming back. It doesn't necessarily have to be Rift either, but I'm telling you right now, a game mode in Destiny where you have a point or an object, let's say an object, like the Spark or a flag, and it's one flag, capture the flag, where you have to go take it to the enemy's base, or, they have to take it to your base, you know what I mean? Like a game mode like Rift, It doesn't have to be specifically Rift and the Spark and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That is really good. You know what? One other thing, Bungie, and I know that you did this, and I know it was with good intentions, you need to have Iron Banner stop permanently being Control. You need to.
Oh,
you are
yeah.
going to kill Iron Banner. And I understand with the whole hunt mechanic and everything else, that's what you want to do. But I can think of 1,000 other things you can do to reward players in other game modes. Clash, let's say that your team gets a team wipe, it counts for double points, because you wiped the enemy team. Let's say if Rift came back, if you do a style dunk and you get kills, those kills count for double the points. There's so many things you could do for Iron Banner and things like that to make players want to play it, besides taking away the fucking ability bounty. There's so many things that you could do. And they don't. And
I want out of, like, anything at this stage in the game, I don't even, like, new modes would be cool, but all I want is better private match controls. I don't even need, I don't even need super good, like, weapon control, like, force everybody to have this weapon. I just want to be able to play Rumble with Mayhem rules.
Please,
Yeah.
Bungie. Mayhem Rumble was a thing back in D1, wasn't it?
It's not in D2!
Me and Ellis were fucking around in D1 last night, and we were doing Mayhem Rumble just cuz.
God damn it, Bungie. Also, one other thing, I guess we can end it on this, but I just want to get this jab in here real quick. Can fucking, what's it called? Daybreak, it was the modifier in D1. Can that come back as a strike
Yes!
modifier for playlists, please?
Okay, me and Ellis were talking about this too. Why do Nightfalls have to have every single modifier be negative? Why can't we have
Exactly!
one
Oh my-
positive modifier?
Okay,
Even if it's
listen,
just
if
the current positive modifiers we have, Brawler, Heavyweight,
yeah,
and the
yeah,
like.
Yeah.
Listen,
But
if
we're
we get on
starting
that
to get
topic,
into a whole other topic.
I would say we get on that topic, we're gonna be here for another
We'll
2
continue
hours.
this
So
next
here's,
time.
so here, how about this? Our next week's topic, here's what I vote, because we haven't really discussed this. Sorry to the viewers, we're breaking the veil a little bit. We're not nearly as prepared as you think we are. I vote this. Yeah, I know. I vote this.
Wait, we're doing this?
Let's talk about Nightfalls. Let's talk about Nightfalls and the health of Nightfalls and master
Nightfalls
raids.
and strikes and
Endgame
stuff like that.
PvE content,
Yeah.
exactly. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely, I'm excited. I am the Strike Goblin, and I have a lot to say.
But as far as this episode is concerned, does anyone have anything else they want to bring? Oh, and fuck DMT. Anyone else have anything else they want to bring up?
No.
Can hand cannons please stop being the top for once? I really want something different. I don't even care.
I would
do
love
something
for Bungie.
Bullshit. I don't care. Like what's something that doesn't get
sidearms,
used?
please. Season of the sidearm.
Sidearms. I love sidearms. And
Did you say season of?
Season of the Plague? Season of the Plague, please.
See, Witch Queen season 1 confirmed. Oh my god. Anyway, so now
I'm
that we're
gonna
done
need the
memeing,
fucking. Oh no! I saw the just absolute square on my audio. Oh no!
oh no. Anyway, so before we're gonna continue to meme, but I just want to, I guess, thank you all for listening to this shit show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you tune in, thank you.
Yeah.
We love like we want to hear feedback if you know in the comments and stuff like that. But even if you're just listening, thank you.
Yeah, it means a lot.
Leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and comment. All right, bye.
Oh my god, stop.
And next time we're gonna talk about our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh my
Raid
God.
Shadow Legends. Oh my god.
I mean, I'd take it for
Alright.
as much money as they throw out.
I would. You know what? I
Yeah,
would. Or,
no cap.
buy a Ridge wallet.